Many of us are working from home, and due to the pandemic, there have been so many situations where we've encountered new types of stresses, new types of environments, and new ways of working. And there is this whole expression that, it's just work or whatever it may be, or it's not really a big deal, etc., etc. But if you think about it, you're spending, most of you at least anyway, a minimum of 7 or 8 hours a day at work. That's a third of your life. That's a third of your life. And if you really sort of break it up, you're spending anywhere between 35 to sometimes even as high as 60, 70, 80, 90 hours at work if you're really pushing yourself. And you're meant to have a space and a place where you feel comfortable, you feel happy, you feel satisfied, you feel joyous and peaceful at life. That's a very difficult thing to do. And this video really is to highlight the fact that we are human and we do have different stresses that occur in our lives. Now, there are different types of stresses. I'm not going to talk about all the different types just because I don't know all the types, but I think of stresses such as physiological stress or psychological stress or even environmental stress. So for example, physical stress could be things that affect you physically, whether this could be a cut or a bite or heat or whatever it may be. Psychological stress is really onset based on things that affect your psyche, your mind, your mindset, etc. There are also biological stresses which are triggered, such as neurotoxins or hormones that really cause you to feel a certain way. So if you notice, if you're stressed, you may get more sweaty, or your blood pressure may raise, or you may get more hot, or you may breathe faster. These are all onset by maybe environmental and psychological factors that trigger these physiological or biological factors as well. I say this all to say that there is a science to this. And if there is a stimulus, i.e. a trigger that makes you feel this way, then of course you're going to experience all of these stresses. Now, stress is something that you experience that is not necessarily caused by the stressor. This is what I mean by this. Although these things are happening, your response to them is what causes the stress. That's a really important point to make. And it's not that it's easy to just turn these things off. But if you recognize these triggers, then you can understand actually you can reduce these things. What do I mean by this? Usually when I study or if I'm working at home, whatever it may be, and the windows are closed, the heater's on, I haven't had much water and I haven't had much sleep, I know I'm going to get a headache. I know it's going to be difficult for me to do work. I know I'm not going to be able to concentrate the same way. So I can control certain aspects in order to reduce the onset of feeling stressed. I could open a window, I could drink more water periodically throughout the day. I could aim to sleep earlier if I can, or not do any activities that prevent me from sleeping. These are all things I could do. I could wear less layers. And so with that in mind, think about the things that are affecting you that are not just environmental, but could be bigger. This could be related to family, partners, friends. This could be related to colleagues that you're working with. There are so many different factors to this. And so you have to do what you can in your locus of control to be less reactive and more proactive. Again, we can see this on the locus of control chart, where if you're more reactive, that means you have less control over your fate, so to speak. If you're more proactive, i.e. you put in measures to prevent this stuff from happening, then you're in a place and space where you are less likely going to feel this element of stress. So comment below and let me know if there are any other types of stress that you can think of that people can relate to as well. So this was all to say that stress is a real thing, but we control it in many ways, whether that is subconscious or conscious. And whether this is physiological, biological, physical, environmental forms of stress, even chronic stress, some of these things can be managed. Now, of course, if stress occurs over a long period of time, then conditioning starts to occur where it becomes chronic. It becomes a thing that can't be changed. And so we need to be in an environment that enables us to move past that. And this is why I'm making sure that you have the right people around you. This is why I'm making sure that you are living in the right spaces. This is why making sure that you do the right work is crucial. What really focuses and what really contributes towards motivation is this whole idea of doing something that you are authentically passionate about, or at least curious about, because it prevents you from being stressed and it's easier to do that work. And so that contributes to autonomy, that contributes to purpose, that contributes to mastery. This is what is spoken about in Daniel H. Pink's book, Drive. And so this is all to say that when you align yourself to that stuff, you are less stressed. Now, again, not easy things to do, but you can strive for these things. You can strive for these things, whether this is in the short term, mid-term, and long term. So don't give up on your dream. You need to really believe that you can create those environments that enable you to be less stressed. You have to believe that. Amongst all things, if you don't have anything, the only thing you have is hope, is belief, is faith. And so I just challenge you to really do this exercise. Think about the things that make you stressed. Close your eyes and think about this thing. And once you're thinking about these things, think about where in your body you're feeling this stuff. Is it in your chest? Is it in your stomach? Is it in your head? And once you feel these things, really associate those sensations with what triggers these sensations. Is it heat? Is it touch? Is it smell? Is it people? Is it a specific thought? And work backwards to see how you can prevent those things from happening. And if you can't, think of a long-term plan to position yourself to get out of it. Sometimes you're living in a space where it's difficult to just move away from the space. And really the solution is to make more money. So what do you have to do? Maybe you have to take qualifications or courses in order for you to be more applicable for certain jobs or roles. Maybe you need to be better at saving and spending less so that you can afford rent in different spaces. Maybe you need to just move out and be bold. There are so many different examples that we can think of, and it's not that simple, but you need to be reminded of this again and again and again and again. So this is just a reminder to say there are different types of stresses. We get onset stress via different sort of like realms and streams, but we can control and influence. I'm going to say influence and manage certain elements within our locus of control, within our environments, in order for us to reduce the amount of stress that we may be experiencing. The stressors do not create stress, but it's rather the response we have towards those different things. And there are plans and strategies that we can put in place in order for us to, again, be in a position of success, power, and high performance. If you want to watch more videos like this, you can check out other videos that I've done around high performance, around planning and strategy, and just really about managing the whole aura of self. Again, if you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And as always, my friends, understand, reach, and expand. Peace.